Alright guys, so I'm going to talk about our manga manuscript paper, what's called Genkouyoushi, manga no Genkouyoushi. And first, I'm going to go over just some of the basic terms. I'm not sure if you can see the lines on here well, but if you've seen Genkouyoushi before, then you know that there is a innermost line here, there's another one here, and then there's another one on the outside. We have these three lines, sort of rectangles that go all around the paper, and then we have these lines at every corner here. So just to go over what these are, this is called Kihonsen, or so Kihonsen means like the normal line. It's sort of where most panels would be when you draw a manga. So when you read a manga, most of the panels fit within this small image, right? So you're not using the entire manuscript paper. That's why we have all these lines. You're usually just drawing in this little rectangle here. So that's why Kihonsen, like regular. And then we have our Shiagari-sen. So the Shiagari-sen is when the magazine or book or whatever is printed. This is where, around this area is where your image is going to get cut. So if you're going to spread like to the furthest possible length, if you want to spread to the edge of the book, you want to stop at the Shiagari-sen. You don't want to draw past the Shiagari-sen, right? So you have the Shiagari-sen that goes all the way around. You don't want to go past up here, past way down here. Stop at the Shiagari-sen if you can. Usually everything fits within the Kihonsen. But if you want to make a bigger panel that stretches for whatever reason, you want to make a bleed panel, you go to the Shiagari-sen, because that's where it's going to get clipped. Then we have the tombo. The tombo, these are the lines that I remember my manga professor explaining this in my manga production course. Basically, there's a machine that reads these tombo, and that's where it tells where to cut. So the tombo is lined up with the Shiagari-sen. You see there's tombo on all four quadrants of the paper. So that just lines up with the Shiagari-sen. That's for the computer to know where to cut your paper when it's the image when it's editing time. And then we have the Nuridashi-sen. That's like this furthermost line. So this has all your measurements, right? These are so useful for when you're putting panels together. Yeah, you don't want to draw past the Nuridashi line, the outermost line. So you want to try to keep it inside of the Kihonsen. But if you want to, for a dramatic effect or whatever, if you want to draw a bigger panel, then stop it at the Shiagari-sen. So we're going to talk about today drawing what's called a mihiraki, which is a double page spread. That's one of those, sort of huge double page, self-explanatory, double page images. So you want to cut your manuscript paper in order to draw the double page spread. So you actually put two pages together, but you can't just put them together like this, because remember, you can't draw on here. So actually what you do is at the nodogawa, so nodo means neck in Japanese, gawa means side. So in the innermost side where the spine of the book is, you cut the right page and you cut the left page, and then you tape them together. So I already have Genkouyoushi manuscript paper that I cut, and you cut at the Shiagari line. So here's my right page. So you see how this is a little bit smaller than this. I used my ruler and my X-Acto knife because it does have to be exact, for the editors. Editors will turn it down if it's not. And you cut right at the Shiagari line on at the nodogawa, on the inside-most area on the right and left side. So then now I have my mihiraki page, my double page spread. So when you draw this, you draw it as one image. You imagine that this line isn't right here. So before you draw, you want to make sure that, see, I just flipped this over on his back, so I cannot see any of those guiding lines. I can't see my nuridashi or measurements or whatever. In 1 second, I'm going to make sure I line these up really well, because that is paramount. Craft is very important when you're working analog. Craft is of utmost importance, especially in a Japanese medium. That's just sort of a given. All right, so I got these lined up here, and then I'm going to tape Now you don't need to use too much tape. You really don't. You don't need to tape all the way down. So I'm going to tape here at the top. And I'm going to tape one more time at the bottom. And then I'm going to tape in the center. All right. Now I can draw my mihiraki. I can draw my awesome double page spread. And mihiraki, these are very useful. If you're drawing a one shot or you're just drawing like a chapter, you don't want to spam these. This is something else that I learned while I was studying manga in Japan. It's special, right? So these are for really pivotal points in your story. Usually you only want 1 or 0 per chapter. So here's that's how you cut your Genkouyoushi to make your mihiraki. And you remember, when you're normally using your Genkouyoushi, you want to stay within the Kihonsen, or if you want to do a bleed panel, then you want to go to the shiagari. Never draw past the shiagari. If you want to cut your page to draw mihiraki, you can line your ruler up with the tombo, because that's right where the shiagari line is. So line your ruler up with the tombo, and you be very careful about it. Now, if you notice here, I like to have the metal side down. Usually the metal side is supposed to be up, and this sort of material here is supposed to stop from sliding. But in my experience, I found when this side is down, there's a little bit of space between the cutter and the ruler and the paper, and I can't get an exact line. So I've opted to take a bit of a risk and keep the metal side down so it's closer to the paper, and I just make sure that I keep my hand steady. So when I'm ready to cut my mihiraki page, I line up the tombo, keep my hand steady. I'm not going to do this because I've already done it. And I take my cutter and I cut all the way down firmly. You want to make sure you cut in. It's really, really good idea to have a cutting board. And sometimes you don't cut all the way through, so I'll just go again. And usually after I cut, instead of lifting my ruler up and possibly losing my place, I pull. And if it comes out, that means I cut it well. So, Genkouyoushi, manga manuscript paper, where to draw, where not to draw, how to cut a mihiraki page.